The mothership Abyssal Venture held its position with mechanical precision, a floating city anchored to coordinates 3 years in the making.
On the recovery deck, a team weathered by months at sea, prepared for a descent into the crushing depths.
Chief Recovery Officer Marcus Webb oversaw the final preparations, a man who had orchestrated dozens of these descents.
Their vessel was a titanium sphere, designed to protect 3 souls from pressures that could crush a human body into paste. Webb watched the sun descend toward the horizon. They had been on station for 19 days, mapping the debris field.
Pilot Elena Vasquez entered the sphere first, her movements fluid from long practice.
Marine geologist David Wang followed, then Webb himself. The hatch sealed, transforming the vehicle into a mechanical cocoon. The crane lifted them clear of the deck and swung them over the darkening ocean. Then, they dropped.
At 200 meters, the last vestiges of surface light vanished. They entered the realm of perpetual night.
The hull groaned and clicked as pressure mounted. Webb had learned to distinguish normal compression from warning signs.
At 1,000 meters, they passed through a layer of marine snow, a slow-motion blizzard of life's remains.
Wang monitored the sonar. The seafloor approached, and with it, the scattered wreckage of the Kronos. Life persisted in the darkness. A 6-gill shark, unchanged for millennia, investigated the intruder before vanishing.
At 4,000 meters, they reached the bottom. The submersible hovered above a desert of ooze, home to strange, slow life.
They moved forward. The first piece of wreckage appeared, teak decking, now a substrate for deep-sea corals.
More fragments materialized in the lights, each claimed by the ecosystem of the abyss.
The nameplate remained, a ghost of the vessel's identity in the crushing dark.
Vasquez translated the sub sideways, and there it was, the vault, encrusted but intact, resting on the sediment.
The ocean had claimed its surface. Tube worms and sponges had made it their home for nearly 4 decades.
The next phase required the manipulator arms, tools capable of crushing stone or handling with delicate precision.
Webb worked methodically, excavating sediment to expose attachment points. Visibility dropped to 0.
From the mothership far above, the lifting cables descended.
3 hours later, the cables arrived. Each ended in a shackle rated for 10 times the vault's weight.
The connection demanded absolute precision. A mistake could mean losing the vault, or their lives.
Shackle 2 secured and locked.
Millimeter by millimeter, they secured the connections, inspecting each from every camera angle.
Webb sent the confirmation signal to the surface. The message traveled up through 4,000 meters of water.
On the surface, Mission Director Sarah Chen received the signal. The winch systems engaged.
Then, movement. The vault lifted from its 38-year grave. ascending toward a world it had forgotten.
An East Asian web watched it disappear into the darkness above, a treasure reclaimed from the grasp of the abyss.
Their part was done. 30 minutes later, the submersible began its own long climb back to the surface. They rose through the layers of eternal night, past the watching creatures, following their prize upward. They broke the surface 2 hours before dawn, emerging into a world of stars and gentle swells.
Webb climbed out, his body unsteady after hours compressed. But there was no time for rest.
Dawn arrived as the winches groaned. The cables were rising, bringing their cargo home.
And from the depths, the vault returned. It broke the surface, streaming seawater, a ghost from the abyss.
The crane swung it inboard. It touched down on the recovery deck with a resonant thud that echoed through the ship.
The cleaning began immediately. Water jets and careful hands removed the layers of deep-sea life.
No one spoke. The moment required no words. They had measured themselves against the abyss and won.
The ocean held countless secrets in its depths, but this one, at least, had been recovered. And for now, that was enough.
The night deepened, but the team lingered. A quiet vigil for what they had pulled from the dark.
Decades earlier, the Kronos sailed under summer skies. Its passengers had no warning of the storm to come.
The storm arrived with sudden fury. The Pacific turned from host to executioner in a matter of hours.
In the final moments, someone secured the collection. They turned the lock, sealing away a fortune in mechanical art.
Then, the impact. A wall of water that sealed the Kronos' fate and sent it on its long descent. Webb stood on the deck, but his mind was 4,000 meters below and 38 years in the past.
Mission Director Sarah Chen joined him. The operational stress was gone, replaced by a deep fatigue and satisfaction. The final step began, moving the vault to the onboard laboratory, a controlled environment for the unveiling.
It crossed the threshold from the wild, salt-sprayed deck into the sterile, climate-controlled lab. Here, conservators would manage the transition from seawater to air, preventing sudden corrosion or damage. Every millimeter was documented. This was as much an archaeological dig as a recovery operation.
The mechanism is fused solid. We can't force it without risking the contents.
So we need to dissolve the corrosion first.
But how long will that take?
Their solution was patience. They injected a specialized solution to slowly dissolve the mineral deposits.
The abyssal venture remained on station. The world above continued, while below decks, time unfolded at a different pace. For Webb, this was more than a job. It was a proof of concept, that human will and ingenuity could retrieve anything from the deep.
For Vasquez, the victory was in the piloting, the precise dance at the bottom of the world, under impossible pressure.
After days of preparation, the moment arrived. The lock was ready to be turned for the first time since 1987.
The dial turned, its movement gritty and stiff. Each click was a fracture in time, a step back toward the surface world.
Dr. Eris took the handle. The vacuum seal, reinforced by decades of pressure, would not yield easily.
Then, a sound, a deep pop as the seal surrendered. The door was open. Inside was darkness. Then, the light revealed rows of cases, neatly stacked, seemingly untouched by the chaos that surrounded them.
The first case was lifted out. It was heavy. The promise of what lay within was now a tangible weight in her hands.
And there it was. A Rolex Submariner. No cheer erupted. The feeling was deeper than celebration. It was reverence.
One by one, the collection was revealed. Gold, steel, platinum, dials of blue, black, green. In the inert gas environment, the watches were finally freed from their capsules, meeting the air for the first time in decades.
They would take weeks, months to fully restore each piece. This was the beginning of a much longer journey.
Webb watched the surgeons of time at work. His role was over. The treasure was in the best possible hands.
He went to the bow, to the quiet. The ocean that had guarded its secret so fiercely now seemed placid, indifferent.
These watches had known another life. They had marked moments of joy.
Now, they were artifacts. Their value transformed by depth, darkness, and the story of their recovery.
Dr. Eris gave him the first watch. He held not just a thing of value, but a piece of halted time, now flowing again.
He left them to their work. The technical miracle was complete. The historical one was just beginning.
The abyssal venture turned for home. Its coordinates were cleared. The ocean had yielded one of its secrets.
The mood aboard shifted. The tension of the mission melted into the easy camaraderie of a shared success.
The official notification was sent. A single word that would trigger a complex global process of insurance and ownership.
The vault, its purpose fulfilled, was now just a shell. Its precious contents were transferred to a new, temporary home.
The life that colonized the wreck is a catalog of deep-sea adaptation.
Did you find any extra moles in the vault samples?
For Vasquez, every descent was a lesson.
She documented every strain and click for the engineers who would prepare it for the next abyss.
Webb recorded her private thoughts. Not of value, but of process. Of the fragile chain of technology.
They took a moment to remember the human cost. The recovery was a triumph, but its origin was a tragedy.
The Pacific is a grave for ships and secrets. Today, they had honored both. The first sight of land in months. The isolation of the deep ocean station was finally ending. They returned not to a hero's welcome, but to a discreet, highly secured logistical operation.
With signatures on a screen, legal custody transferred, the financial machinery of the surface world engaged.
Just like that, the physical focus of their mission was gone. All that remained was the memory of the abyss. The unique society of the ship began to dissolve. These people, bound by extreme pressure, returned to their separate lives.
Webb stayed a moment longer. The deck that had been a stage of controlled chaos was now just empty metal.
In a sterile lab far from the sea, the watches began their second rebirth. The salt was gone, replaced by synthetic oils.
And then, the sound. The heartbeat of a machine that had been silent at the bottom of the world. Time resumed.
One by one they woke. Dials that had known only abyssal darkness now caught the light. Loom that hadn't seen photons in decades glowed softly.
The watches entered the realm of legend. Their provenance, recovered from the SS Kronos, 4,000-meter Pacific.
The gavel fell. The value, hypothetical for so long, became real. It shattered records, fueled by rarity and narrative.
Webb saw the news. The number was staggering, but it felt abstract, distant from the grit and pressure of the recovery deck.
The official report arrived. Thousands of pages documenting every decision, every sensor reading, every moment of the operation.
He paused at one image, the vault in its deep-sea context. That moment of extraction, frozen now as it was in the book.
Webb found a new role, sharing the knowledge. Not just the how, but the why of reaching into such hostile environments.
Was it worth it? For watches?
It was a test. The watches were the benchmark. If we can recover that, we can recover black boxes.
The ocean hadn't yielded all its secrets. New coordinates were locked in, new depths to confront. The work continued.
Some artifacts were preserved for the public. The vault and one watch became a monument to human ingenuity and the ocean's power.
The abyssal venture has been retired, but other ships now hold station over other coordinates, their lights piercing the gathering dark.
The ocean remains holder of...
On the abyssal plain, life reclaimed the space. The scar left by the vault's removal slowly filled with drifting marine snow.
For Webb, the Kronos was the first and deepest pin on his map, a benchmark against which all other recoveries were measured.
The bonds forged in the abyss held. Scattered across the globe, they remained a network, a society of survivors from impossible places. We use your recovery as a textbook case. The perfect balance of patience and aggression on the bottom.
Huang's samples became teaching tools. The biology of the deep, collected alongside human history, now inspired new scientists.
The success of the Kronos mission unlocked funding. The next generation of ships would go deeper, stay longer, see more.
Some of the watches found their way not to auction, but back to families. Heirlooms recovered from a watery grave, carrying a new, heavier legacy.
Stories are too heavy to wear on your wrist. Some artifacts are meant to be kept as monuments, not used as tools.
Retirement didn't change his perspective. The ocean was always there, a vast, unsolved equation just beyond the shoreline.
He revisited his own words. The hull is singing its pressure song. Vasquez calm.
What was the deepest part? Not the ocean, I mean the feeling.
People still ask, not about the money, but about the experience. The human element in the inhuman deep.
Silence. Not the absence of sound. The presence of something else. A kind of immense attention.
He realized the abyss had changed him. It had calibrated his sense of scale.
The story rippled outward. From a storm in 1987 to a pinpoint on a map.
In the end, it was about recovery. Not just of objects, but of understanding, of bringing pieces.
The ocean keeps its secrets. We keep reaching for them. And in that endless...
The legacy of the Kronos recovery was not in the treasure, but in the blueprint it created. A new generation now looked deeper.
The old team was called upon. Their experience in the logistics of the impossible was now a sought-after commodity.
The pressure will...
The technological arms race against the deep continued. Each recovery demanded new tools, new materials, new tolerances.
Mnemosyne was the mother of memory. We're going to try and bring some back.
The public narrative evolved. The watches were the hook, but the real wonder was the alien world they were found in.
Look at the size of that shark. Is it real?
It's a six-gill shark, rarely seen. And this Dumbo octopus is incredible, isn't it?
Why are its ears glowing?
Yeah.
The final watch was restored. The collection's journey from the abyss was complete. Its timekeeping began anew.
The most meaningful rewards were not financial. They were physical fragments of the mission itself, tokens of shared experience.
The techniques honed for treasure found their highest purpose, recovering lost climate data, black boxes, historical artifacts.
This was the real dividend. The ability to retrieve not just what was valuable, but what was vital.
The abyss never left him. It was a lens through which he saw the world, a place of immense pressure, profound silence, and hidden truths. Even the rain made him think of descent rates, of particulate matter, of the long, slow fall of marine snow through the eternal dark.
The work continued, even from ashore. His experience was now a guidebook for those going where he could no longer follow.
And the watches, they ticked on, measuring seconds, minutes, hours.
His private thoughts became public record, a primary source for historians studying the dawn of industrial-scale abyssal recovery.
The rhythm changed. No more waiting for a submersible to descend. Now, they watched in real time as robots did the first reconnaissance. The new site was not a quiet plain. It was a violent hydrothermal landscape where life thrived in boiling, toxic soup.
It's hotter, more acidic, and more active than we modeled.
The variables have changed.
The pull was immediate. The deep was presenting a new, more violent challenge. A part of him was still down there, wanting to solve it. The cycles of life, so rapid on the surface, felt incongruous with the slow, cold time of the abyss he knew so well.
You need to feel the pressure, she told her students. Not on the hull, but on you. Your heartbeat is the only clock that matters down there.
For some, owning the artifact meant owning the entire narrative. The tragedy, the mystery, the technological triumph, all locked away together.
The message was simple. First contact. It's not metal, it's stone.
Sir, your log entry from day 17, you wrote, "The sea feels patient today." What did you mean?
That would be, in that moment,
There, she understood the heart of an explorer, a sensor array wrapped in human skin.
Explicit prompt explicitly requests audio, that's silence sign, and the audio description is